Hi, my name is Aksik, aka Annika. Welcome to my channel. And here we mostly talk about adult coloring and art materials and art and whatever pops into my head, really. And today it's time for another tag. I was tagged by our wonderful Maia from Colored by Maia. And the name of the tag is Coloring Confessions. And it was started from what I know by hugely talented Shel from Shel's Coloring Journey. And it's all about books, once again, but it's kind of a lot of bullet points to get through. There's 22 different categories. And basically, from what I understand from kind of Shel's video, is it's kind of designed to keep people who are watching, especially if they might be fairly new to the coloring, adult coloring, kind of a spectrum of different coloring books, you know, by different tastes and different attitudes and different possibly age groups. So, you know, if you watch some of these videos, or if you just, you know, have watched some people's coloring and know that you like their style and usually, you know, their taste fits yours, then by, you know, this tag you can actually find out a lot about, you know, their taste and their collection, and maybe find some gems you were not aware of. And because of that, I'm trying to pick the books that weren't the first ones that popped into my head often, although I did have these ones as well, because, you know, the questions just basically assumed, you know, that you have to take that sort of a book. But I did try to also grab books that were not, you know, as well-known, or, you know, kind of as popular, just, you know, some interesting books. I'm trying to keep it as tight as I possibly can. I am a talker, so I suspect this is going to be a long video. You can just settle down with your coffee or tea or, you know, juice, whatever, and just, you know, go through loads of wonderful and maybe not so wonderful book, because my taste is not necessarily your taste, and that is absolutely fine. So the here is the tag. I actually printed it out so it would be easier to read. And I'm going to prop it up in front of me out of the shot. The first question, or first prompt. The oldest book in my collection. Now, this is a toffee. I'm not sure I have any more. The oldest book in my collection. And I swear I should have it. I have lost, essentially, the oldest book in my collection. And I haven't given it away. I don't know where it is. I've just, you know, lost it, essentially, somewhere in my craft room. It's Lulu Mayo's Million Magical Creatures, and I can't find it. It really irritates me, because I love that book, and I really wish, you know, I hope I haven't, you know, finally totally lost it. But, you know, hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, I will finally find it. But I know that the second book I bought was this. It was Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hanna Karlzon. Because when I started watching, you know, that's how I got into adult coloring. I kind of started watching videos on YouTube, you know, people coloring, and I kind of had pretty good idea what styles appealed to me, or, you know, what sort of art and what sort of a coloring style would appeal to me, because I had watched a fair bit of videos before I actually went and bought a book. So I knew that Johanna Basford wasn't my thing, but I did like Hanna Karlzon pages, you know, what people did with them. Of course, I was well aware that I wouldn't be able to do the same in, you know, my book immediately. So I think the first ever thing I colored might have been these mushrooms. I mean, like, colored in a coloring book. I had been, you know, previously coloring in on the cards. I think that might have been next. And then after that, I call it in the first book I got, which was Lulu Maya's, or Mayo's, magical creatures, million magical creatures. And I did basically the title page there, kind of a spread with dinosaurs. And the next page after that would have been that forest guardian slash witch slash I have no idea. But I'm actually quite happy considering, you know, I hadn't lifted a pencil for almost a decade. Or, you know, done anything. And I just, you know, dug out my old materials, which I had plenty of, and got cracking. So yeah, I haven't really, shamefully enough, colored in this book much after that, although I like this book a lot and I have constantly plans to color them in them. Hanna Karlzon is actually one of those artists whom I love and fear, because her pages kind of, I feel obligated to do something, you know, really nice in these books. They kind of make me feel that, you know, I should measure up somehow. Because I've seen so many wonderful, wonderful pages, you know, from people that you kind of feel, oh, you know, I should do something really nice as well. And I shouldn't really feel like that. It should all be, you know, some pages here I should just do kind of in relaxed style. Not try to go all out, you know, guns blazing. So yeah, my own fault that I haven't really done as much as I should have in that book. The next prompt is newest book you have bought, and it's this one. You have not seen it yet, but you will soon. It's going to be in my coloring kind of a journal, and I will eventually do a flip through of that one as well. It's published by BBC and it's by Beloved. It's based on the Beloved, at least by me, you know, my favorite Pride and Prejudice dramatization is the 1995 BBC TV series, which I don't think has an equal. It's very true to the book. Well, not 100%, but, you know, I'd say as much as it could be to still be interesting and watchable. And yeah, I'm working on something there at the moment, so, you know, I'd be able to, I tried to, before I actually go into the flip throughs and, you know, kind of a more detailed talk of the book, to have something done in the book. So, you know, I'm working in it a little bit. Really like the line art, I have to say that. Their line art is not overdone like the portraits there. Most colorful page you have completed. Okay. So I think there's more than one, but I'm just going to show you one, because otherwise, you know, this video is going to be endless. Okay, now, it's from Camilla Garofano's coloring book, Dinosaurs, and one of the, I like all her books, obviously, otherwise. But I think that might be the most colorful. Although pretty much every page I have made here or in any of her books tends to be very colorful. I just, you know, think that her images lend themselves to, you know, going into the town with color. It's just having fun, making them bright and vibrant and happy. Then a most relaxing book to color in. Okay, there's several, but I picked out one for this one. And this is Circle of Nature by Karolina Koplikowska. She is often my go-to author when I need to just de-stress myself, or, you know, I'm colored out, or I just don't feel like anything, and then I go to her books. Those are her color pages, and I just, you know, especially this one is particularly easy because the images are essentially kind of, you know, all in a circle like this. You know, I usually like to put some sort of background down because I like when there's background, you know, it kind of brings things forward. and I, toss down some watercolor, and usually on top of watercolor, I toss down some colored pencils and variety of colored pencils. The paper in this book is fantastic. It takes watercolor like a champ. You can do pretty much anything with it here. It even granulates, if you want to. You can put it down wet enough for it to granulate. To me, it's such a relaxing book and so easy to color. And they go relatively fast for me as well, so they feel like, good wins. I do know, though, that Karolina Kubikowska books are a challenge to get nowadays, because they are obviously, because they're good quality and they have usually published by author herself and in limited quantities. Therefore, they are not, easy to find. They're not kind of places like Amazon. She usually sells them via her Etsy, and they're not always in stock. Most detailed or challenging book. Okay, hello, Tomislav Tomic. This is Dromenwanger, which has amazing paper. Seriously fantastic, though, really nice. And the type of paper you can pretty much do anything in. I think you can even, I think I tried, and you could technically even blend out colored pencils directly on the colored pencils, water-based markers here directly on the paper. It's a really nice paper. The art is stunning, absolutely gorgeous. And there's several pages that, I have marked. I want to do it, I actually kind of want to do them both. Although I'm not a big, huge fan of those kind of very elaborate frames. They just, to me, they're not a huge fun to color. I prefer, that sort of a portrait itself, or some sort of a scene. Well, I have only done one page in this book, and, after that one page, I was like, I'm not going to touch it for a while, because it took me a while, and I even... I was working here with water-based markers and colored pencils and all the shading. Even, the harder, pencils that do hold their point, even these, in some tiny areas kind of struggled, they got too dull. It's just, yeah, because, the areas are so tiny. I don't know how people... who really love just, kind of very detailed pages, which I admire. I love looking at them, but they frustrate the heck out of me, the fiddly bits. And yeah, this one I did with water-based markers now, and they are kind of diluted on the page, So you can see, you can definitely do it here. Another image that I would love to do. Ideally, I would love to do the whole spread, because it's beautiful. Anyways, too much talk. This book really terrifies me, but I love it at the same time. So most unique art style. Okay, there's many. I could not just take one, because there's many, and even then, there's more and more on my shelves, that, because I love unique and interesting art styles. So this one I wanted to show you. This is by Marusha Bell. It's actually, obviously, it's a kids coloring book, but we all know that sometimes kids coloring books can be the bestest. This one has good paper. The only thing that it doesn't really love is kind of water-based marker, or, very heavy water tends to go through. But, even with water-based marker, you can, if you use lighter tones, you can still use them. But actually, watercolor, it takes fine, if you use real watercolor. Excuse me, my mouth is getting dry. I have to take a bit of a sip. But I love that style. I really, really love. Kind of a very... It has that folk arty and really cool and interesting feel. And it's whimsical, it's fun. And I have quite a few pages here because I just enjoy coloring here. I use here often diluted, well, this base is done with gouache, and most of the details and elements are done with acrylic markers, and then there's gel pens. There is maybe tiny bit of pencil in the flower here, type of a thing, but I didn't really put much pencil here at all. I often don't really put pencil on these pages, but I just, it's one of those books that you open any page and you feel like coloring maybe even one element, because these cats are just fun. I would love to just color one. I might not, be bothered doing the whole page at the moment, but I would love to take pencils and just color one of these cats. And then you should. You really, really should. There's no coloring police that says you have to color the whole page every single time. Sometimes you just, see something that takes your fancy and, element of the page. Just color this and then leave it, well, it depends, of course, personality type you are. If the whip bothers you, well, then no, don't. They don't bother me. I'm absolutely fine with whips. Now, I love this page. I want to do that eventually. I love this page. There's so many pages I want to do here, and I've been kind of neglecting it for a while. But I have more pages here, definitely, which I kind of thought I'd show. And there's so many different subject matters, and I also love that although very whimsical and very stylized, they're all kind of as scenes. This was kind of unsuccessful page because that specific watercolor I might have put on too heavily, and it kind of went into the dots there in the sky and, in some areas. But I just played it as it's intentional, and left it at that, and put, a lot of sparkly stuff or metallic stuff on there. This is, both of them are based with, was it acrylic or paint, or was it gouache? I don't even remember, but they are based with paint, kind of a diluted paint. And then tiny bit of pencils here and there. The bear wasn't based. Bear is just, plain colored, but the rest of it around it is all done with paints. The bear is pencils. And the other elements here, a lot of elements are just acrylic markers without any pencils, because I don't think it's necessary, if you do it in that stylized way. I just, love the way the pages come out here, but this is kind of a matter of taste, love this page also. And yeah, there's, I think it might have been oil pastels here in the ground, and in the background there's acrylic marker in the sky. The house, I think, was based with, I don't even remember, something, it's just, so many different media usually throw here. And then, part of it I have shaded, and part of it I just do kind of like flat coloring with acrylic markers. And I think the pages come out so fun and so interesting, and it's also a good value, if you buy that. So yeah, fun. Talk too much about it. Anyways, another one that is really unique art style, I have shown that before and quite a lot. This is one of my favorite books, and also a book that would go into several categories in this tag. I might mention it again. It's called The Occult and Folklore Coloring Book by Duchess of Lore. And there's loads. It is genuinely interesting. There's wallpaper pages, there's kind of a scenes, there's portraits, her style, once again, as I said, this specific prompt is about her style is very unique. Nobody else with exactly the same kind of a feel even pops into my head. Also kind of has that slightly folk arty, stylized feel, and ornamental, but not over ornamental. But yeah, I like these pages, kind of scenes and portraits, and These are probably the pages. That's why I never like to commit myself to finishing a book, because I love a lot of pages here, but you know, there are pages that I'm not going to be bothered doing it. This one, probably not. This one, maybe, yeah, because there's a central character. Yeah. And of course, I had to mention her again. Karina Kubikovska, pretty much. She's one of those few authors that I let myself to pretty much buy anything that she comes out with. I used to be more into this full set syndrome, and now I am weaning myself out of it. I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying not to, you know, kind of buy every single book the author kind of publishes, even, you know, as I might love the author. Mainly because I'm never going to be able to finish these books anyway. But with her, I just like the artwork so much, and the paper is so good in her books that even if, you know, I might not touch or even not get to some of the books, or, you know, get to them way too little, but this is a whip. But I don't, in her case, mind that I have too many of her books. I just treat them as art books. I just like paging through them. And, you know, this one, once again, you know, paper is so good that you can put anything down. Now, books that you've colored in the most. Okay, or a book that you've colored in most. I suspect it's this one. Let me bring you closer because it's tiny. I suspect it's this one. I am not 100% sure. There's also another book that I've colored quite a lot in, but this tends to be one of these books that I kind of go for, you know, if I need an easy win, I would often go and do something in it. And there's a lot of whips here because of that as well. This one, I think, was done last December, possibly. Look at the sparkles in the snow. I don't know if you can see. I like how the snow came out. It's much nicer with the naked eye than it is actually on the camera or, you know, on the photo, but the snow looks lovely there. There's, yes, quite a lot of whips and finished pages here. And yeah, it's nice paper. I'm not saying it's perfect paper, but it's nice paper that allows to use a variety of different materials. I often like to work here with diluted acrylic base, mainly because it makes disguising the lines or lightening the lines much easier. But I have also worked here, like this is just watercolor, just mostly watercolor. I don't think there's pencil here, maybe on the face and on the cats, you know, in those tiny areas. It was just easier to go in with pencils than, you know, fiddle with tiny brush and, you know, deal with watercolor. And a little bit in the hair, I think. But mostly all the coat and the background is just, you know, one layer of watercolor, and that's it. And you can imagine, you know, how fast that one went. This one came out really nice. And once again, there's watercolor paste and then pencils on top. But just, you know, not heavy pencil work, but I have made, you know, here I actually made some effort to make the fur look like fur. Mostly, you know, on these cartoony animals, I'm not bothered, but sometimes I feel like today I'm going to make it look as if it's actually fur. I love how this one came out. I like the sky. It's all based, and all the background is done with acrylic paint, diluted. This one also based with acrylic paint. There's some gel pens and tiny bit of pencil here as well, but not a huge amount. This one is a whip. Whip. I love how this one came out. I really love the super muted color scheme here. So there's just too many pages to kind of, you know, talk of them all. There's basically a lot. Then post book I love, but I haven't colored yet. Okay, let's write up again. Close your eyes. And here we go. This is this book. I got it quite recently, and I haven't got to it at all yet. I know that she's actually coming out with a new book. I have done this, you're not going to get it. You haven't touched this one. I do like the art a lot. I love, how it's divided. I like the paper. Paper feels really nice. I like the portraits, or how she does the portraits. And I like that although her women are pretty, but they are women. They're clearly women. They have women's bodies, with curves, and they have expressions, and they all have different interesting faces. Although I could, some of them could maybe forego a very pouty lip, because they're all very full-lipped. This is many artist style, it seems. But I really love how, dynamic and how in movement and interesting her kind of compositions and scenes are. So really want to color in it. If anybody amongst you has this book and wants to kind of kick it off as well, and wants to do a body color, give a shout, because I would love to get to it. Oh, isn't that just majestic? That would be my star sign. I don't look anything like that and never have, but I can tree. Anyways, next book, book you would save in a fire. It says sentimental favorites, and this is kind of difficult because there's there's quite a lot of them which have the same, but I had to pick out something. So I picked out two books. They're both mythographics. These are I would have been able to put different mythographics in many kind of for many prompts in this video, but I decided not to. I decided that I'm going to kind of try to limit things. So I love Joseph Cattimbang's Wild Summer, and this is also one of those books that I can, if I had to, the situation we imagine here is that there's fire and I have to grab something that, let's say, it's like desert island type of a situation that you only have, let's say, these two books to color, and they have to do you for a while because you lose everything, which very distressing. But these ones pretty much almost, not every page, but almost every page here is a scene that attracts me, that I want to color. So they would keep me busy without me getting bored or sick of them for quite a while. This one would be one, and this one would be the second one, Mythographic Cosmic Spirit. Also kind of one of those books that I actually colored here a fair bit, but that's because I think it's fun, I think it's approachable, and images are fairly kind of somewhat easier than in some mythographics. It's kind of more relaxing in a way. And this is now Fabiana Attanasio. I, purposely took one by Joseph Cattimbang and one by Fabiana Attanasio. And it's just beautiful images. And it's not, this is astrology and tarot themed, and I'm not hugely into those themes, but I don't have to be. I still can like the imagery and admire the artist's work. So absolutely love. And this is one of those books that I've mostly colored in the beginning. Yeah, this is the Hermit. I actually love how this one came out. Yeah, I mostly like the works that somehow, you know, even when I look at the image and can't really imagine, you know, what it's going to be like, when I first kind of wonder, I once I start coloring, they kind of come out all right, you know, or even, you know, something that I'm pretty happy with. Those shiny covers aren't great when you're showing books, but at the same time, you know, some of the, you know, if you know that you've used some materials that might kind of rub off or stain or crumble, or some gel pens can kind of smear a bit, even like years, or, you know, just fall off or crumble off. So having covers on them kind of protects it. This is one of my favorite works. This is one of my favorite pages. Just like how it came out. And this is once again like how the page came out. And I love this. I think it's one of my favorite ever pages. Just kind of love the color scheme and love how the shading came out here. Yeah. So these books. Okay, so book with the best paper quality. Okay, I'm now giving you a couple. Okay, I'm gonna show first one that probably a lot of people are going to mention, and this is the Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Lydia Öberg, and it has genuinely beautiful paper, just lovely. And this is one of these books that I want to kind of go and color in again soon, because I've now gotten into the stage that I really want to color on nice paper. I'm kind of sick of fighting the paper at the moment, so I just want to go in and have it easy for a while. So yeah, beautiful book. This is my only finished page at the moment. I think one of the things was I wasn't happy with this page when I finished it. And when you're really unhappy with what you do, you kind of tend to kind of put it away and out of sight, out of mind for a while. So I haven't touched, I didn't touch it immediately after. I do like how the flowers came out and the glow in the flowers. I don't like how her face came out and the background. But, you know, still fantastic paper and absolutely recommended. And then this is Eilidh Muldoon. She is a Scottish artist. I have 2 books by her. I don't want to get any more because I think 2 is enough, especially considering I got the 2 that I find, you know, the most suitable as a subject matter for myself. And her art is very, very interesting. I really like this. Is, you know, it would have also fit into the most kind of interesting or unique art style. I like how she draws. It's also very stylized, but the paper in her books is amazing, especially, you know, with pencils as well, but you can put water-based marker down, take a water brush and totally dissolve it on the paper. It's that sort of a paper. It takes watercolor and water-based markers fantastically well, and, you know, any media really that you put down here. Obviously it wouldn't be alcohol markers because it's double-sided, but, you know, I just, you know, but you have a choice either to make these images kind of very muted and natural, you know, almost kind of a monochromatic, or you can go really, you know, colorful and ornamental and bold, strong colors. And I like these scenes. I kind of want to do at least one of these. They're really beautiful. I want to do these soon. But, you know, very easy to color. They lend themselves to pretty much anything you can come up with. I have just, you know, tested, of course, pens there. This is the spread I've done, and this is all sorts of different watercolors, and you can see how granulating watercolors in the background, they granulate, and you know, you get all those interesting watercolor effects, and the paper doesn't even buckle properly. You know, it has, no, you can see it's, you know, slightly, of course, you know, very, very slightly warped, or not even wavy, you know. Doesn't, like, takes the water so well. It's very rare in coloring books. I wish, you know, pretty much all the books would come on that paper. So yeah, highly recommend this book to you. And also will mention, okay, this is another mention which I've already talked about. Yeah, and this also, I like the art in this one. This might be my favorite because it's all animals and kind of nature scenes, and I love coloring these, especially if they're whimsical like this. You know, really adore this book. And it also, you can either go by fantasy colors, or because it has in the beginning, pretty much it tells you what animal is what, you can look up on the page, you know, what the colors are and actually do them in correct colors. But I just tend to, you know, go whatever I want to do. And I wanted also mention this one. Sorry, I don't want to lose the backing paper. And I also wanted to mention this one. It's I've mentioned it in several videos when, you know, I've talked about good paper, and I'm mentioning here again. Takes watercolor like magic. Takes pencils really well, you know, both absolutely amazingly. I have 2 ready pages here and 1 whip that I want to start working on soon. I haven't gotten to it, but I really like it. So yeah, beautiful book, beautiful scenes. I like that, you know, some are kind of very simple portraits like this, but there's also a lot of kind of scenes that the dogs have been put into their environment and into their element, into interiors and nature. And, you know, I just adore this Pomeranian in a laundry basket. Yeah, fantastic book if you are into dogs. But this is, you know, of course, I do understand that you kind of need to be into dogs. Can't be helped. Okay, so favorite grayscale coloring book. Now this one is probably kind of rare one. Not many people have that one, and I don't even know. I presume you can still get that, especially if you are ordering from some Polish website, because it's a Polish book. It's hardcover, and it's a large book, and it's once again kind of a star signs, but it's one of these papers, you know, books that would have gone into the previous category as well. Amazing paper for any media, pencils, even alcohol markers here, because it's essentially one-sided. Okay, there's text on here, but if you don't care about the text, you can use alcohol markers here. You can use watercolor here. It tolerates watercolor amazingly. The images are stunning, and there is... Some of them have a little bit more the grayscale. Some don't have at all. Like for this one doesn't really have grayscale. This one has very slight one, and this is about the amount of grayscale I'm okay with. I prefer no grayscale. This is the page I ruined. This is a whip and probably will remain a whip. I messed it up or I might just leave it like this and consider this the finished page, because, you know, this is pretty much how she would do her images, you know, kind of very, maybe keep the skin some shading, and that's about it. You know, I did it in that style, but they are absolutely stunning, very interesting and fun portraits, and the paper is amazing. I do have a finished page here. Where is it? I wanted to do that one, yeah. Oh yeah, I did, I think it's Taurus. And look at the watercolor effects here. Like, this is, you know, just masked off and wet the page and pretty much dropped the watercolor, and it just mingled, you know, with different colors, and, you know, dropped them in, and look at, you know, the background, how beautiful it is. I didn't have to work hard here at all, you know, you just put the color down and drop other colors in, and, you know, you can lift a little bit or move things around, but it was so easy to work watercolor here. So yeah, but you know, the question was about grayscale, and it does have, you know, some images at least have light grayscale, but it's not, you know, strong enough that it would bother me, because I don't really love grayscale. Okay, so next one, book that intimidates me. Okay, there's many. I picked one. It's also one of Uncolored books, because it's a fairly new book. I found it actually on Temu, and it was very cheap. It was cheap enough that I actually said, oh, I'm just going to order it just to try. And it's an amazing book. It has a big coloring posters here as well, with, you know, kind of a A3 format, and a double-sided, which, you know, I wouldn't probably go for. It has the samples of the artists, you know, how the person who drew those images would color them or has colored them. And the paper is fantastic. Well, at least, and I haven't really put anything onto it yet, so I can't really tell, but it's stitch bound, and, you know, it lays absolutely flat, so it's super easy to color here, especially, you know, if you're working with watercolors. You want the book as flat as possible, so the water wouldn't run into the binding, you know, or to the other side. You know, the flatter it is, the better. The portraits are stunning here, and the scenes, and that style of art, I admire it hugely, but I never have gotten comfortable or really understood how to color it. So I just need to take out my watercolors eventually, you know, if I'm bold enough, because I just feel like I'm going to ruin it. And just go for it, because after all, it's, you know, it's just a coloring book, but boy, it's a beautiful coloring book. But I may probably pick for something simpler like this, you know, for beginning, kind of, to get the feel of the paper, and, you know, do some easier portrait, and then maybe eventually, you know, try to move on to something like that. But yeah, but the paper feels really nice. It's definitely going to be beautiful for pencils, but it's not pencil book for me. Like, at least I wouldn't definitely do the whole pages here with pencils. I do, you know, if I work here at all, I do want to use some sort of a paint or watercolor here. And next one, book you want to finish one day. Okay, so I've shown it before, so I'm not going to go into much detail here. Yeah, it was at some stage I had this body color or idea with one of the colorists on Instagram that we would try to finish it in 2024. It didn't happen, but I had gotten far enough that I now want to power through eventually. It's Any Day Soft Living Coloring Book by Morgan O'Brien, standard edition, which means awful paper. But I, you know, don't care that it's awful paper. I'm, you know, putting and experimenting here with different mediums anyway. Some of the pages are like super heavy because I have so many layers of all sorts of pastes and paint and whatever down. This is homemade glitter paste, and I think it's heavy. Yeah, so I think I have under 10 pages to do anyway, and some of them are like really simple pages, like this one and this one, which wouldn't take long. But these pages don't really take long to start with. I usually put either water-based markers or pigment pens or alcohol markers as a base, and then put pencils on top. So best book for practicing new techniques. For me, it's pretty much any book I can get my hands on, okay? I don't really try to keep it in one book or think that, one specific book is the bestest. For example, the Occult and Folklore coloring book, I've, tested and practiced a lot of different techniques there. I have practiced a lot of new techniques and different techniques in this book, from realistic portraits to kind of monochrome with just it's just a wash of diluted gray paint, and then there's water-based markers on top that created this kind of a monochrome image behind her. There's paper piecing. There's full, pretty much mostly done with acrylic paint. This one is, just random things, some washi tape put down in random area for no reason. This is, I think, wash. This is done mostly with acrylic markers, and then different layers of acrylic markers and washing them out, and also water-based markers on top of acrylic markers, and so on, so I keep experimenting here. This one, that is a whip, that one of the reasons that it's kind of in my whip pile is I have satin glazing here, and I'm working with watercolors here on top at the moment. Eventually I will move on to maybe putting on some extra with water-based markers, and then with pencils. Yeah, I'm just trying constantly, things out here, and there's loads of whips here. Testing out different acrylic markers and pens just for these backgrounds, just for no reason, just testing. So yeah, this is one of these books. This is one of these books that I kind of have tried out several things, but as I've said, they're not the only ones. I have loads of books, and most of books I tend to experiment as a rule, more than exception, and I'm not one to worry about how pristine and clean my books are, or if they stay in perfect condition, or if something leaks somewhere, or stains, or if something happens, I either ignore it, or I'm always able to somehow cover it up if if it bothers me. So I just let myself loose. So here I put background is granulating paint. Well, everything here is granulating paints. There's the granulating paints here, Holbein granulating paints. I tested how I can do the if I do the background here with metallic acrylic marker, will it look okay? And it looks okay-ish, but not amazing. I like the art in this book. It's very kind of simple but very elegant. Here I was testing inks. The background here is done with kind of a sparkly inks. So there's blend of two different inks. You can see from the back how it's gone through, because inks tend to go through. If you work with inks, pretty much most of papers, they will go through. And I didn't tell you who it was by. It's by Ali Koch. and it's called Bloom. It's a beautiful book to start with. This one is also, I've just tested some inks here. I need to eventually go in and do the flowers. I would like to kind of almost go, because I made the background so muted, I probably will put almost neons into some of the flowers, not, everywhere, but some bits. That takes watercolor well. This paper takes very well water-based marker, acrylic marker. It's kind of very smooth paper. Pencil, I actually don't love it much here, but I usually don't use pencil here. It's done all acrylic markers, all the blending and everything and shading. There's no pencil there. It's just acrylic markers. So yeah, I kind of tend to experiment in this book with different techniques. This is different ways to color with oil pastels. There's different methods which I showed in my oil pastel video. So another one, most affordable but great quality book. Okay, I'm showing this one. This is also by Eilidh Muldoon, and that's her series for children. And I think these are like fiber, or when I got it anyway, it was a fiber. And it has the same amazing paper that her grown-up books have, but her other books are also good value. And it takes, you can see, like I actually put, the inks that went through everywhere. I showed you in some books that, that inks always go through. These are the same inks, and they didn't go through here at all. That's how good this paper is. So yeah, if you just want very simplistic little book like this is more of a kind of like handbag or pocket book, and really lovely. She has I think 3 or 4 of them with different themes, but I of course got the animals one. She has loads of books about Scottish cities and stuff, but I think her other books, the Scottish nature and Scottish animals and Scottish gardens and all of them also are pretty good value. So if you are into that style, you would get amazing paper. And I actually suggest for everybody, that if you can in any way, buy a book with good paper. But I get to that spot in next prompt, which is a book you recommend for beginners. Okay, so I'm going to show you 2 books. One is that one. This is one of the books that I kind of forgot that was in my stash, and no, I'm probably not going to let it go. I want to color it. I like this book a lot, and the paper is fantastic. And why I recommend it for beginners, because you can choose if to make kind of really simple, like just kind of bits of elements style of a page, because she has these on this book. You can do a picture and all those small pictures, but like Johanna Basford has the Little Victories book, which has like little elements, but they're teeny tiny and quite challenging because of that, especially for the beginner. But in that sort of a book, where the elements are bigger, and the paper is just as nice, if not nicer, in my opinion, I think it would suit the beginner way better. So I think that would be really lovely book for beginners, because the images are not, some are very simple. And then you can kind of start from the very simple ones, when you practice them, they aren't very intimidating. And then as you get bolder and as you kind of develop skill and courage, you can move on to more complicated ones, or bigger scenes. This one, very simple. This one, a bigger scene. And they're genuinely, beautiful. And the paper is fantastic. This one, quite simple. And the second one I recommend is this one. I am going to show you that probably in some other category as well. But this is Maria Trolle's new seasons books, Årstider. Sorry if I'm butchering Swedish. I know I'm butchering Swedish, but I can't really speak or don't know much about Swedish. And this is like lately her style. She has simplified her style quite strongly in last couple of books, this and the Christmas one. The line art, like she's reduced the amount of teeny tiny elements that are very challenging to get your pencil or any, any pen or pencil into to actually color them. So now they are way easier to color, and I think these ones would be really great for the beginner. Now this one at the moment is only out in Swedish. You can only get it from Swedish websites like iMusic and Bokus. I will put the links underneath, in case you want it. This is me forgetting that, water-based markers can make a mess if you put water onto them. Very dark ones. Yeah, but you can see, there's no intimidating line art. So they would be really, I think, easy. They're to color. They're cute, and it goes through all the seasons. So I think it would be a great book to have, or to start with. But I know that they usually come out with the English version usually about half a year after it's published in Sweden. So it's going to be available soon. Then book that sparks your creativity. Okay, many of them, okay? But I pulled out this one. It's a hefty book. It's a big one, you can see. And, a lot of tags, as you can see. It's a lot of ones I want to do. I never get to them. But this one, I just like the art style here. This is oil pastels, that image. And I think the bird was done with water-based markers and some pencil, possibly. There's loads of landscapes, there's people, there's works by several different authors, so it doesn't get kind of samey. They're all, a lot of them are very dynamic, very in movement. Only bad thing about this one is, you can see how much kind of wide expanses they are. I don't really want to do that with pencils, but it doesn't really like watercolor. It goes into the dots, breaks into dots. So I am always trying to find different ways, to use paints or watercolors here. That, I either base that this one is based with satin glazing, and then, loads of layers of watercolor added and built up. And I actually like how it came out, kind of this muted and has depth at the same time, and also blends. The colors are nice and harmonious. So I really like how it came out. But this is a matter of taste. But it's a cool book. And, I tend to... And this is one of these books that I've had, total fails, like these both, these two, the whole spread, did not come out great, because I was still kind of learning and trying. I think they were kind of first pages where I tried to watercolor or use anything. I used markers here mostly, water-based markers, and I used watercolor here, and I didn't really know how to work on top of satin glazing yet, and you can totally see it, like they look clumsy and off. But you gotta learn somehow. This one now here, you can see I'm getting better at putting watercolor on satin glazing. So these both look much better. But they are done once again mostly with watercolor, layers of watercolor on satin glazing, and then eventually a little bit of pencil shading on top, but not much. These are just, you know, kind of, I just showed random things here. So yeah, basically, you know, this book kind of always when I open it and, you know, kind of decide I'm going to work with it, you know, I get ideas and I want to try out things. Now, most nostalgic or childhood inspired book. There is actually two of them, but they're essentially the same. This is the book. I grew up not in English speaking environment. I was kind of more northern adjacent, and one of my kind of big things when I grew up, or kind of favorite books, were the Moomin, you know, the tales from Moomin Valley and Moomin books, and still love them. Still, I consider them, in my opinion, one of the best kind of children's and even grown-up literature out there. They're incredibly kind, you know, amazing imagination, found family, and, you know, this, by these books, or, you know, by the way these creatures treated themselves, I formed kind of an idea of the family in my head, you know, what it should be. And I have done a couple of little spreads here. It's very small. It's like tiny, like that. And, you know, I haven't done huge amount, but I have done some pages. But I often just like to kind of page through them as opposed to color them, if you know what I mean. This one is a whip, which I don't know if I'm ever going to get to, but I don't like where it's going. At some stage, I had a trouble. I lost a cap of one of my water-based markers, so I put blue everywhere. This is water-based marker. Also, this book has fantastic paper. It takes watercolor. It takes pencils, although it takes paints almost better than and markers better than pencils. It's a very smooth paper, so some pencils don't like that paper, but still just stunning little book. And, you know, I love it mostly because well, I love the art, but I also love the memories that go with it. And this is the full-sized version of it, which has more pages, you know, kind of more artwork as well. And I want to work here more. I want to pull out my paints again. I like paints here, but I kind of suspect that oil pastels would be cool here as well. You know, there's kind of a big surfaces. And I love, you know, that these are kind of the original artworks. They're not, you know, new reproduced artworks, because now they're making the cartoons and games and whatnot. And obviously these ones aren't anymore created by the original artist. But these ones are all, this is a whip that I want to finish. I used kind of diluted gouache here, almost like using gouache like watercolor, and then, you know, nothing went through, and I got this, I think it's gorgeous, very colorful results. This is, you know, all gouache. There's, I think, a little bit pencil here under her chin and on his nose, and in the eyes there's a little bit of pencil, but the rest of it is just gouache. And I think it just so cool and really suits, you know, the spirit of this book. So I want to do, you know, similar style stuff here. I think it looks fun here, and it would probably also be fun to film something like that. Okay, now book with the most variety in pages. Okay, there's just quite a few, but I thought I'll pick something that isn't, you know, it doesn't pop into your heads right away. And this is that book. It's called Dream Coloring for Kids, illustrated by Anastasia Tkachova. And it has huge variety. You know, every single page is somewhat themed. Some of them are just kind of elements or, you know, animals, you know, put into the composition. But some of them are kind of like scenes, you know. This one is kind of polar, polar scene. You know, this one is some sort of an Aztec temple. This is artist studio, but sometimes it's just in a kind of selection of animals or objects on the page. And it has a huge, huge variety. What has happened here? What just, okay. That's interesting. Huge variety of themes. I don't know, something has stuck some of the pages together from the top. I'm sorry. I do not know what has happened. But it's gonna be fine. I'm going to cover it up. But this is just in a page of cute worms or caterpillars. This is a campsite. This is chameleon. This is loads of cats. It's simple, but it's absolutely fantastic. And you know, once you color them, they become really fun, and you know, they come together really interesting and fun. Like, I think the pages come out really cool. And this is essentially a book. And the water-based marker tends to, if you kind of go, especially with darker tones, tends to go through here. But lighter tones won't. Definitely at least one more page. Oh yeah, the princess and the dragon page. The Rapunzel page, essentially. So yeah, highly recommended if you just want to go in, you know, have a book that pretty much has something for anything. But that, of course, you know, if you like the style. Oh, I discovered that book from Maia's channel, actually. You know, she found, you know, kind of discovered that book, and I'm super grateful that she did, because I now get to love it as well. Now, next one, a seasonal favorite. Okay, meaning, you know, that you go through seasons. Okay, this is Seasons by Hanna Karlzon. And I don't even know, it is and it isn't one of my seasonal favorite. I do like it a lot, but I like her ornamental pages. Some of the pages are just, you know, kind of too fiddly and kind of too ornamental for me. I do like some of her portraits a lot, and I do like, you know, really like some of her pages. Like, really love that one. Like that one as well. That one is okay. This one isn't really calling to me. This portrait I don't like. Really like that page. This one could be or could not be. Don't really care. Really like that portrait. So yeah, I either really like the pages in here or really don't care about them at all. But I do acknowledge that, you know, it's kind of one of those classic seasons books. And I do have, you know, some pages here done. And quite a lot of whips when I put just face down, you know, like background, or this is an awful whip. This is, that went so bad that I almost thought about removing the page, but then I said, no, actually, you will not remove the page. You will live with the consequences. So yeah, good book. Yeah, that's another page I did here. No, the book I showed you before, the Maria Trolle's one, the new one, I kind of now fancy that one was better, the Orstealer, but this one, as I said, isn't out yet in kind of Europe, in English. The English version isn't out yet, so, you know, if you don't want to order from Sweden, you will need to wait. Okay. So next one is most whimsical or fun book. Okay, so there's this one, which was sent to me by my wonderful, wonderful viewer, just, you know, quite recently. Really like the art here, like the paper a lot, like that it lays flat. It really lays flat beautifully, so you can work things here. I have a whip here. I'm working on this one, but I would like to, do even more here, because then another whip here that I want to eventually get to. So yeah, this is just beautiful, fun, and as said, whimsical book. And then talking about whimsical and fun books, pretty much anything by R.J. Hampson. I just can't tell you which one is the best, okay? I like most of them. I do like the hide and seek a lot. I do like this forest song a lot. I think it's a beautiful book. There's typical, some sort of a background is down. I need to just go in and do the parrots. I know there's more pages here. Yeah, this page. This is that went bad. This will not be finished. It went really bad. I either have to totally cover it with something. I think it's Neocolors, and it went really badly. It did not like this paper. Serendipity is beautiful. They're all actually, I like them all. Where's this is? Oh, this is the Christmas page, the Christmas gifts page. I have some in most of his books. Really like this one. This one came out fun. And hide and seek. This one was done with mostly with gel pens, from what I remember, and some with pencils as well. Oh, I like this one, how it came out. This is mostly watercolors and some pencils on top. The elephant in the room. I just love the concept. I love his sense of humor. I like his drawing style. He pretty much can't go wrong. I do feel that he has a lot of books though, and I am not a very fast carrés. Like Jackie from Spare Room Studios, she is like super fast with her pages. Well, not always, but she's quite fast. And she has finished R.J. Hampson's books and everything. In my case, I don't think I'm going to be finishing anything anytime soon, but I do like them, and I kind of like to do occasional page quite often if I can, in his books. And then most realistic or nature inspired book. Okay, we're getting there. Not too much left now, people. I'm sorry, this is lasting forever. This is I think the book that is my kind of most realistic one. I do have some Leila Dooley, I think 2 Leila Dooley books as well, but this is basically mostly botanicals. This I like because it's botanicals and animals. And I like how they're drawn. There's no overabundance of line work, so I don't have to fight the line work as much as I sometimes do. It's just gorgeous. Beautiful. Only thing is that they're pretty much all double page spreads, which kind of freaks me out because it's a lot of work. And, a lot of coloring, repeating elements, obviously. But I still want to do another one soon. I have done one spread here, and some of them are really calling to me. I really like that spread with tulips, and really beautiful. There's, I think, 1 or 2 that are essentially one page like this, but most of them are. I did the penguin page, penguin walking on the Milky Way with sunflowers, because of course I did. I don't know why I stuck them in Cosmos, but there it goes. That's how it is. Yeah. Well, what you gonna do? But I like how all the elements are drawn, and the paper is amazing, of course, both for watercolor and paint and pencil. So really nice to work with. So this would be, you know, kind of which I consider my most realistic book. I don't, color in it as much as I would like because of the double page spread factor, but I really should. And then the last, we are getting here, the books you have ignored the longest. I will show you two. These have been with me quite a long time. This is, I don't know, and this is also would go to seasonal books, you know, when you were asking, you know, my favorite seasonal book. This actually would be one of my seasonal books, and I don't understand why I haven't colored in it. I just basically forgot about it. This is very much seasonal. It goes through the year, and basically there's a page for most occasion, and there's pages for different seasons and holidays. And I love the line art. It would also fit very well into the whimsical art category that we mentioned previously. So there we go. Beautiful. Fantastic book, and I have not touched it. And another one is this one. This is Airy. Oh, Airy. Whatever, you know what I mean, and you know what it is. And this is the Word Legends and Myths, or is it Word Legends and Myths? I think is that one. And this one has been with me since I pretty much started coloring as well, and I still haven't colored in it. And I like the line art here, actually. You know, I like the subject matter because I'm very much into the myths and legends. Love this page, you know, I should really do it. There's several pages there that I actually really like, but I still haven't done them. There's something about Airy that kind of scares me. Funnily enough, like, I totally understand when you say, how can Airy intimidate you? You know, she's pretty simplistic. Maybe that's what intimidates me. But the paper is amazing. You know, they're obviously Japanese version. I don't even think they have English versions, these ones. The paper is fantastic in these ones also. You know, if you want really good paper, you know, remember the really good paper prompt. Well, there you go, another book with fantastic paper. And I know, you know, her paper takes pretty much anything as well. So, beautiful book. And to my eternal shame, still uncolored. So, my task, you know, would be also eventually get there. So, thank you very much for watching now. It's been a long video. I did try to go through them reasonably fast, but it was 22 questions. And I don't understand how some people have done it within half an hour. I am so sorry. I know I'm wordy, but I kind of get talking about books and then things drag. So, thank you very much for watching, and you have now earned a good break. Stretch yourself and, you know, find some relaxing thing to do, maybe coloring. Maybe you want to just go for a walk. Just, you know, take it easy, have a lovely day, be healthy, be happy, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.